morning. This is Anna. Okay, I'm gonna adjust the video a little bit here. It looks different. Hi, I'm Anna Tai. I'm the author of this book, Eat to Focus. So, this is another episode of our life. Okay, and I'm still trying to get used to all this technology stuff. And if you're new, we're doing this live talk every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Hawaii time, or yeah, 12 p.m. Pacific time. It's gonna change because of the daylight saving time. So today I'm gonna talk about sleep and ADHD, how to fall asleep and stay asleep. Because I think with ADHD, and I think I probably talk about this all the time, is we often so focus on talking about the focusing part of the ADHD, hyperactivity, and all of those, but something that is very common in people with ADHD is sleeping. A lot of people, and probably maybe not even just people, um, not just only people with ADHD, but I think overall our population is getting more sleep deprived. Oh, by the way, you might see me going back and forth because I have Facebook and Instagram going on together, so I have two cameras. So, but people with ADHD do tend to have more problem with sleeping, and initially, a lot of people think that it might be because of the medication that they're taking with the ADHD medication, because it's a stimulant. It's kind of like the same thing, right? Like when we have coffee, we often tell people, oh, don't drink coffee like after a certain time because the caffeine's going to keep you up for a long time. So that's kind of the idea with some of the recommend the thinking of people not able to fall asleep with ADHD, maybe the medication, but actually it is not just the medication. Medication could be one of the reasons, but if you think of the causes of the ADHD symptoms, which I talk about in the book, one of it is about brain chemicals. So, um, brain chemicals and how the ADHD brain is wired differently. So, if we look at, in order to fix a problem, we kind of have to understand what's the cause, right? Because I think a lot of people thinking that, oh, what I can't fall asleep, or I fall asleep, but I wake up like within 2 or 3 hours, or wake up like 3, 4 times a night. Then we have to think about what is causing that. Why are you waking up? Why are you not able to relax and fall asleep? So sleep seems like for some people it is something really easy, right? Like some people just go to bed, lie down, and then they fall asleep. But for some other people, it might take a little bit longer and might even need more technique. And some people might end up having to do like sleep study. But basically, our body, the way that our body falls asleep, has multiple mechanisms. So one of it is called circadian rhythm. So the circadian rhythm is kind of how our body interact um, with our environment, and it's something that is super deeply ingrained in the human biology. So the human is supposed to, our biology is supposed to match our environment. So there's this up and down hormone that goes up and down throughout the day, or actually not just one, multiple hormones um, kind of comes and goes throughout the day, and that's how humans regulate our body and biology. So with the circadian rhythm, I'm just going to make this really simple, not going to go too much details into all the deep biochemistry and stuff. But so with the circadian rhythm, our eyes and actually our skin senses the sunlight. So when our body senses that the sunlight and light, there's this hormone that kind of comes up and wake us up. That's how we wake up in the morning. There's cortisol that rise and wake us up. And then, so basically, a two main hormone is cortisol and melatonin. So, a lot of you probably have read and see a lot of things about melatonin and sleep. So, the reason why a lot of people use melatonin to sleep to help with sleep is because melatonin is the hormone that rises at night and makes you fall asleep. So that's the relaxing, falling asleep hormones. So what it does is, as the day, so you wake up, so cortisol comes up and wakes you up, and then you go around, go about doing your whatever during the day, and then as the sun comes down, I'm talking about before electricity now. So as the sun comes down, everything is dark. Then your body is not sensing that um, light anymore. So the cortisol level comes down, and the melatonin level slowly comes up. When the melatonin level comes up, you start getting sleepy and sleepier. Okay, just 1 second. Uh, Today I have to use a different phone to do this live, so but, there you go. Yeah, so that's how the hormone part is working to help you fall asleep and stay asleep. And that's why the melatonin works for some people, but it might not, because that's only one way of falling asleep. The other thing is we have to look at what's going on in the environment, right? So what I just described is normal situation. Like nothing's going on, no wars going on, nothing, everything is normal, fine, happy. So the light comes down, your melatonin goes up, and then you fall asleep. Then the other scenario is that why? So the other question to ask is why is your melatonin not coming up? Or if you have a good melatonin level, why is your body not responding to it, right? So we have to start asking more questions about what's causing what. Why is she not eating? Or why she or he, your child or you not falling asleep? And I get those questions all the time at work. And like before, like I have I've been a dietitian for over 20 years now. Like when we're in school, no one ever talk to us about how to fall asleep or how sleep is important only until like the very past few years. Hi. So we're more actually I guess we have more and more ideas now of why or how nutrition affects sleep. So I talk about the brain chemicals or the hormones like the melatonin and cortisol. So I'll talk about how nutrition comes into play with that. Then the other question that I'm trying to get to is what's going on in the person's life, right? Are you having a lot of things to worry about? Are you having anxiety because something happens in your life? Someone said something mean, or your boss said something, or like you also have to look at that psychological part, right? Because sometimes I think it was last week that I talked about um, ADHD and rejection. So I was talking about how people with ADHD, both kids and adults, tends to be exposed to more criticism, more like negative self-talk because of all of that. So like if every time someone says something, we get stressed out. So all that stress, that emotional stress, can affect how your body interacts. So when you're stressed, your body actually using more resources. So then that might means that there are less resources for you to relax. Oh, okay. So that's something to also look at. Um, so the understanding the chemicals that helps you fall asleep and relax. So fall asleep is the melatonin. Relaxing is serotonin. So they're actually the same because they actually comes from the same amino acid or same protein base, and it gets turned into 5 5-HTP and then serotonin and melatonin. And I'll talk about that later as well, how to change your eating. But yeah, so those are a few things. So let me just think. Yeah, so um, part of it is the brain chemicals, right? Brain chemicals or the hormones that helps you relax. And then the other one is like the physical part of your body, like how, because just think about it, right? Um, when you're sleeping, Every one of us loves sleeping. It's just that sometimes there's so much fun stuff to do, we just don't want to go to sleep. But when we sleep, our whole body is relaxed. But if you have something bothering you from the day or even weeks before, and you keep having that looping thought, like, oh, I just hate this person. Like, how dare he said that to me? Like, if you have those kind of stressful things that you're constantly thinking about, um, then you need to kind of figure out, is that a reason why you're all tense up? Because when you're stressed, you tense up, right? Like you just feel your muscle like, ah, oh, I'm just so angry. So when you're tensed up, that tensing up of your body actually is creating a feedback into your brain, right? So when your body is tense, it creates that feedback into your brain and like, hey, why is she so stressed? Okay, let's wake up a little bit and check out the environment. Because one of the job or the major job of your body or your brain is to keep you alive. Like the human body and human mind, like this whole thing is made for survival. It's made to watch out for all the threats and dangers around you and keep you alive. Like unfortunately, its job is not to make us happy. Otherwise, we'll be all happy people walking around on this earth, and there'll be no caring ever, right? So that's what the body is. So when your body is all tense, your muscle is tense, it sends the feedback signal. That's what the body mind connection is all about. Like it is a two-way connection, the body and the mind to the body talking constantly. So when your mind is calm, it calms your body. Just just imagine, just entertain me for a little bit. Just close your eyes now, right? And think of something negative. Think of the last time someone said something mean to you, or the mean things you tell yourself, and then just feel your body. Like, just feel like how's your heart rate? How's your muscle? How are you feeling, right? So when you have a negative feeling or negative thoughts, your body acts a certain way. It's more tense up. But now keep your eyes closed and think of a happy, joyful moment. Like, well, Valentine's Day is coming up. Some of you might have gotten your chocolate or flowers already. But think of like the last time someone did something nice to you. Just think of that. Like, how did you feel? How did you feel in your chest area, in your muscle? How's your feeling, right? Like those kind of things, like when you're more relaxed, your body responds differently. So that's one of the things to think about too, like thinking of trying to fall asleep. Are you relaxed? Not just the mind relaxed, but the body has to be relaxed too. Or if you're just like right before bed, you're like watching news or on the social media, reading all this news. News is good because it tells us what's going on in the world. But unfortunately, all this news network and company, they try to make money, so they only deliver the bad news because bad news sells. Who wants to know? Oh yeah, today we saved like 10 dogs from this cruel people, or today we found a kitty in the ocean drowning, and we helped it. So no one's really care for the good news, which is unfortunate. But yeah, like just beware of the things that you do before bed, and then having a winding down bedtime routine will help. So that's some of the ways or the things that to think about, like what's going on in your head. Are you relaxed? And then the brain chemicals or brain chemicals and hormones running in your body. So so then knowing a few things that could, oh yeah, I'll talk about that differently. Okay, so knowing that those could be a few things that might be stopping you from falling asleep, then how are we going to hack that knowledge? Use that knowledge to hack our brain to get them to fall asleep and stay asleep, right? So so falling asleep a lot of times is difficult for people. Staying asleep is also difficult. So I'll talk about both of them. Okay, so actually, what I just talked about is about the falling asleep part. So a lot of people, hi. So a lot of people have issues staying asleep too. So let me talk about that a little bit. So staying asleep um, means that you fall asleep, then you just sleep, 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 and then wake up in the morning, the normal time, whatever time you set your alarm or the time that you're supposed to wake up. But I do see a lot of patients at work that they also have problem. Some of them have problem falling asleep too, but sometimes they're like, I don't have problem falling asleep. I just have problem staying asleep. They'll wake up like two, three times at night. So why is that happening? So again, we have to look into the underlying cause, the why, right? So remember I mentioned earlier, so throughout the day you make this cortisol and serotonin, melatonin, all of those things, and actually there are more. But at night, that remember that hormone that makes you fall asleep, the melatonin. So so the melatonin makes you fall asleep, right? Then the question to ask is, what's causing you to wake up? Are you having a bad dream? Because sometimes that can wake you up. Or or then the other question is it because the melatonin, the body runs out of melatonin, or is something triggering the body making cortisol? So one of the things that you should look into is what you eat the day, or not maybe the day, maybe look at what you ate at dinner or even the bedtime snack. So this past week, I just saw a patient. He's trying to eat healthy, but then he's like, I just can't sleep well. Because one of the things is when you don't sleep well, it actually messes with a lot of your hormones in your body, like not just the ones we're talking about that help with sleeping and whatnot, but when you're not sleeping well, it affects your appetite as well. The ghrelin and the leptin, that those are hormones that control your fullness and hunger, and those hormones are can be messed up, and it's proven with studies. So when you're not sleeping enough, the reason why you're waking up in the middle of the night could be because your blood sugar is low. So look at what you eat at dinner time and also at bedtime. Like that's why a lot of people often say, "Oh, what time should I stop eating at night?" And I was like, "Well, if you're hungry at that time, I think you should eat something um, before you go to bed." And I do that myself too, because I know that if I don't eat something, like if I'm hungry at that time, I try to eat something and I'll explain why. So going back to how your body is survival machine, right? So say you eat an early dinner, say 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock you have dinner, then you didn't have anything to eat, and then you go to sleep. So from 6 to 12, that's like 6 hours, and then 12 to the next morning, 6 o'clock, that's another 12 hours. So if you try to eat something, okay, let's see what we're eating. Say your dinner, you eat just whatever stuff, like not the most healthiest thing, right? Then you go to sleep and then you wake up in the middle of the night. And usually chances is you wake up in the middle of the night is because the cortisol level is up. So there's few things that cause the cortisol level to go up. One we talked about earlier is when the when we senses the sun coming up and we senses sunlight, then that will triggers the cortisol to wake up. And then when cortisol comes up, it wakes us up. And when cortisol is up, melatonin goes down. They goes the opposite of each other. The other reason that the cortisol might be coming up could be because when you don't have enough resources at night. So maybe you didn't eat the correct food or wrong kind of carbs or didn't eat for a long period of time. So when you go to sleep and not have all that resources in your body, your blood sugar gets too low. And when your blood sugar gets too low, that triggers a stress response. And remember, that's how your body functions. It is a survival machine. Anytime low blood sugar, it is a stress um, event for the body. So when your body senses the blood sugar is low, then it's like it flips on that fight or fight response and triggers stress response and stress hormones and wake up the whole body. So you wake up and you're like, I don't know what's going on. Why did I wake up? So that's one of the reasons. So your stress hormone goes up. And now we have to go further back and and ask the question, why is your stress hormone up now, right? So I mentioned when your blood sugar is low, that can trigger stress hormones to go up. Then go back one more, then why is your body's blood sugar low? Then we'll have to go back more and look at what did you eat before dinner? When was the last time you eat? What did you eat before you go to bed? And when was the last meal you ate before you go to bed? Because all those is going to help you explain what's causing that potential drop in blood sugar and then the rise in the cortisol. So um, I think one of the things that as a society, not many people actually talks about, like if you look at all these like things you see on social media everywhere, people only talk about carbs. They say, oh yeah, carbs. Keto, I'm on a keto diet, I cut all carbs. I'm on a low carb diet, so I count all my carbs. But the thing is, people are not understanding that there are different kind of carbs. There are good carbs and bad carbs. So they ended up just cutting out all the carbs. And and the story I was trying to tell you earlier about this patient that I saw this week, um, he says that he have no problem fall asleep, but then he wakes up like in 3 or 4 hours after he's fallen asleep. And then in the morning, when he wakes up, he gets all cranky and angry and irritable. So then I asked him, so what do you eat at dinner? So he tried to be super healthy. So he eats a pretty low carb dinner. So just vegetables and meat. But then but I was like, do you have any sugar cravings throughout the day? He's like, yeah, I do crave things like sweets. I was like, what time do you usually have that cravings? Like in the afternoon or what time? He's like, usually after dinner. So then I start asking him more. So dinner, he doesn't eat any carbs, so mostly just some non-starchy, some greens and meat. And then he'll get cravings for things like ice cream, cookies, desserts, like the really sweet things, right? So you see how like sometimes when you try to eat too healthy and not listening to your body, but just listening to a fitness guru say this is how you eat, that's one of the things that I'm trying to undo, like in this whole diet culture is teaching people how to listen to the body rather than listening to a guru who don't know you. So so I was like, so do you see that because you're cutting out all the carbs from your dinner, you kind of put yourself in a situation for craving some sugar and carbs, right? So I told him rather than like just eating super healthy at dinner and then ended up cravings for all this sugar, because he's like cutting out rice and potatoes. So I asked him, so between the rice, potato, and pasta, and the cookies, ice cream that you're eating after dinner, which carb do you think is better? I think the rice probably is better, right? So I said, okay, so start adding rice to your dinner every night. Like I don't eat rice anyway, but that's something whatever that you want for your carbs. But I was like, just just add some rice, just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot. You just need enough to stop you from having that sugar cravings after dinner. So that's what he did, and that's kind of like some of the things that you have to look into, right? So he tried to eat super healthy at dinner. Then he ended up with this sugar craving. So he's eating all this ice cream, cookies, and desserts after dinner before his bed. So guess what happened when you eat all that super sugary, intense, quick sugar? What happened is you get that spike in blood sugar. When you eat um, very refined sugar and carbs, what you get is you get a quick spike of blood sugar, but you also get a big, um, what you call that, a big drop in blood sugar shortly after. We call that the blood sugar roller coaster. And yeah, we used to call that something called reactive hypoglycemia. So basically, it's just a medical term to explain. Hi. to explain why your blood sugar suddenly drop after eating certain food. And I talked about reactive hypoglycemia before, but I think I'm now smarter and I understand what causes it. So it's basically when you eat something that is very, very sweet, you get that spike and then you drop. And funny story, it happens to me. And like I said, I'm a lot smarter now, understanding more of this because I swear to God, if I know this earlier, I wouldn't have done what I did. But like I said, the nutrition school that I went to, they don't teach about all these like smart things. They just teach us how to memorize protocols. So let's see. Oh, Oreo cookies. Okay, right. So one day I was home by myself and I decided to have Oreo cookies. Like as a dietitian, we're trained that every food you can eat, right? Like all the carbs are the same. And when I used to teach my patient counting carbs, I just tell them, oh, eat whatever you want. If you want that piece of cake, want that candy, you can eat it. As long as it fits in your carbs, you can have it. Doesn't matter. So we don't know about, like back then, I don't understand all this thing. Like, I just know that, oh yeah, it's a carb, so it goes in the body, get processed, put into the cells, and the body use it. But then I didn't have that knowledge back then that some carbs spike your blood sugar and some just keep it even. But anyway, my story. So one day I was hungry at home and I was by myself. I was like, oh, let's eat some Oreo cookies. Okay, I don't know if this is maybe a binge thing or I was craving sugar at that time. I think I have either 3 or 6 Oreo cookies. Okay, if any one of you have a bag of Oreo cookies, go look at the nutrition label. Like, I don't usually read nutrition label, but as a dietitian, I was like, my patient eat Oreo cookies. I'll eat Oreo cookies. How bad could that be, right? I ate either 3 or 6. I can't remember how many I have. And then I ate and enjoy it. I love it. And then next thing I know, I was on the floor. Like I I found myself lying on the floor and the TV, this is like over 10 years ago. So if some of you remember the TV before is not like the skinny one we have nowadays, right? The TV back before, we have a huge TV. I don't know how many inches, but the TV was like this big. Like literally, I cannot pick up that TV at all. It was huge. But I wake up on the floor and the TV was right next to me, like on the floor, right next to me. So I was like, I woke up like, oh my God, why am I on the floor? And why is this ginormous TV like next to me on the floor? So then I think, so I was like, did I just pass out and fell, fell and dropped the TV next to me? Because if I fall a little bit to the wrong direction, just a little bit, that TV would have landed on me. And I was so lucky. It was like right next to me, like next to my arm, just like that. Like if it's a little bit closer, it would have been on my arm. But I don't know. Yeah, so I was like, oh my God. Like I ate those Oreo cookies by itself and then I passed out. So but then again, at that time I didn't blame the food, right? I just thought, oh my God, I have reactive hypoglycemia. So I was blaming myself, thinking that it is my problem. But again, like I said, I'm a lot smarter now. So I was like, oh yeah, it's that sugar in the Oreo cookies. And and I have to admit, I'm not the best dietitian because I don't read nutrition label because I really just enjoy my food. But anyway, so recently, a few weeks ago, I was doing a diabetes education for a new diabetic in the hospital. And then more like I was teaching the parents how to read the nutrition label. So I was like, oh, I asked that, hey, do you have anything in your bag or something that has a nutrition label on it? And then he pulled out a package of Oreo cookies. I was like, I hope you're not giving that to your kids. But I was like, okay, let's look at the nutrition label. You're gonna tell me how many serving is in is was one serving, and I can't remember, one or two cookies, something like that. It might be one cookie. And then I was like, okay, how many grams of carbs is in that total carbs now? I think he said 10 or something. I can't remember. Like I said, if you have a bag of Oreo cookies, pull out and look. And then I said, okay, look in the ingredients. What's the first two ingredients? And I think in the Oreo cookies, I think the first ingredient is actually sugar, because I remember I was shocked, because usually the sugar is in the second ingredient, which is a lot too. If it's in the second ingredient, it is still a lot, but it is in the first ingredient. Like, I was like, oh my god, this thing is like pure sugar. But anyway, that was the story that I want to share. So basically, what I tried to explain is that when you eat the wrong kind of carbs, it can cause a sugar spike and then super quick drop in your blood sugar. And like that incident where I passed out, it didn't even happen that long after I ate the Oreo cookies. Like basically, and I didn't even know how long I was out on the floor for, but it was actually quite quick. Like probably within a few minutes that I think I passed out, because I didn't even go that far away. So, but yeah. So eating the wrong kind of carbs, or if you're just eating a lot of carbs and not enough protein, that could cause the blood sugar change in your system. So yeah, so those are some of the things. So then how you going to correct some of the things that we just talked about, and then help yourself or your kids to fall asleep easier, right? So like, so first of all, we talk about the hormones and the brain chemicals. So how can we raise the melatonin? So again, melatonin is a hormone. You can call it brain chemicals too. So it comes from the amino acid tryptophan. Let me think. I think it's tryptophan. So tryptophan becomes 5-HTP hydroxyl, yeah, 5-HTP, and then 5-HTP gets converted into serotonin, then gets converted into melatonin. So that means that, and this all also applies to the other ADHD brain chemicals as well, is brain chemicals and hormones are protein. So that means that you need to be on a higher protein diet. That's the reason why, that's one reason why I don't advocate the vegan diet for people with ADHD, because as a vegan, you have to eat a lot of vegan protein to get all the amino acid that you want. And especially with kids who are very picky, getting them to eat some of those vegan protein is really difficult. So animal protein is a lot better option, because you can get a lot of amino acid in a small amount of protein or meat. Um, so protein helps to create more brain chemicals, and then the other part is relaxing your body, right? Kind of like doing that relaxation, bring down the stress level, so your body's like, oh, okay, this is cool, no stress, nothing to worry, I can relax now. So there are different things to help with that. You can do meditations. Like for my daughter, we used to do foot massage when she was little. I used to rub her feet and then she'll fall asleep. You can read a book to also help calm down the body, and just stay away from anything like blue light, like the screen with the phone or your computers, and keeping all the lights low around the house. So when the lights are low, remember when your body or your eye senses like blue light, which is the same as sunlight, it it thinks that it is daytime. Like, oh, it's daytime. We'll keep the cortisol up so he or she can have enough energy to do things throughout the day. But you don't want that. So at night, if you want to go fall asleep, keep the light down low. Some people use like the blue light glasses, which I have. Like I use that at night too for with blue light glasses, so it blocks out the blue light to my eyes. And then the other thing is so protein food, foot massage, relax the body. And then the other thing is like I don't know if I said that. Meditation, you can do some meditation. But for some people, that might sound like, oh my God, so much work. Just do quiet time. That's what I call it. Just lie down and then close your eyes and tell your body to relax. Okay. That's some of the things that I'm trying to teach people to do is try learn to communicate with the body because we know your mind and your body is connected and your body is connected to your brain. So that means that you have control of your body. So you need to learn to talk to your body in a way to make your body function better for you and not let your body just control you and then you feel like you're out of control. You just and it's going to be a practice just like anything else, just like riding a bike, learning how to drive, how to swim and all of those. So yeah, you just lie there, close your eyes and just say relax and think of happy images so you can relax. So that's one. I'm not going to go too much into that. And then, so melatonin, you can take a melatonin supplement. That's good too. Some people think that it is bad, but I was like, the body makes melatonin anyway. So you can either take, so you know how I talk about melatonin comes from the protein tryptophan, then serotonin that gets turned into serotonin, and then melatonin. So you can either take the melatonin or you can take the tryptophan. With the tryptophan, you can take the 5-HTP, um, the precursor to serotonin and melatonin. So the 5-HTP, you can actually take it in the morning during the day because during the day it's not going to be converted into melatonin. Because remember, your body only makes melatonin when it figured that it is the right time to do so. So, like for those of you who have anxiety or having problem calming down, 5-HTP is good because it will be converted to serotonin too, which is the same brain chemicals that antidepressant try to keep the level up. Because one class of antidepressant is called the SSRI, serotonin reuptake inhibitor. Okay, I might have messed up the acronyms, but yeah, basically the antidepressants suppress the body from clearing out the serotonin. So to keep the serotonin level up. So during the day, you can take the 5-HTP to keep the serotonin level up. That will keep you calm. And at nighttime, that serotonin can be converted into melatonin and get you to go to sleep. And hopefully you have enough serotonin, enough melatonin overnight to keep you asleep. And also making sure that the dinner the dinner or the snack you have before bed is something that is high in protein and not super carb heavy. So remember, when you eat a very carb heavy, very sugary, very intense sugar, you're going to get that sugar spike and then the sugar drop overnight, and that drop in blood sugar can wake you up at night. Or for some people, make sure you go to your bathroom because you have all that extra sugar, your body's like, let's rinse that out. So yeah, so basically higher protein throughout the day to get the right kind of protein to help you make the brain chemicals to get you function normally. And then the other supplements that I like to use to help with sleep is magnesium. And I think a lot of people who kind of do a lot of online research looking at like, oh, what supplements good for ADHD, and a lot of places and sites talk about how magnesium actually is good for ADHD. So it's not just good for ADHD, but magnesium is a very, very important electrolyte in the human body because magnesium is involved in like about 300 different biochemical reactions in the body. But what makes magnesium super for ADHD is, remember I talked about the stress, like when you're stressed, your body tense up, and when you tense up, you're less likely to fall asleep. So what the magnesium does is, besides the other 299 different reactions, one of the things that magnesium does is it relaxes the muscle. So to contract the muscle, we need calcium. To relax, we need magnesium. That's why you notice that a lot of the calcium supplement actually have magnesium in it because it is the balance between calcium and magnesium that helps us control our muscle. So if you notice that your muscle is always tense, or you just feel like you're always tense, or you have headaches like migraine headaches, tension headaches, or if you're a woman and you have menstrual cramps all the time, take magnesium supplement, because that cramps is probably because you don't have enough magnesium to relax that muscle. So that's what magnesium does. People often think that, oh yeah, magnesium helps with sleeping, so I shouldn't take it during the day, right? So that's not true. So like I said, magnesium is not an electrolyte or anything that makes you sleep. It just relaxes your muscle. When you can relax, then your mind relax, then you fall asleep. That's what magnesium does. So you can take magnesium any time of the day. Um, you can take the pills. I like this, and I don't have it here with me. I like this supplement called concentrates, and it's actually an electrolyte, um, or trace mineral drops that you just drop in your water, and I drink that. Like usually I have a cup of tea, and then whenever I refill my cup with water, I put a couple drops in it. And the reason why I like that is because there's nothing else in it. There's no sugar, there's no artificial flavors, no natural flavors, nothing too high. It's just 200 milligrams of magnesium, have some sodium chloride, some lithium, which also helps you to relax, and some other trace minerals. So I like that combination of not just magnesium, but other things else as well. And I can post the link here somewhere in the comment later after this. So I like using that to help me relax throughout the day. But lately I've been more relaxed because I don't have anything stress me out, because I kind of figure out my thought process with my work, so I don't give a crap there anymore. Um, but yeah, also, so those are things that you can do or take to relax you. And the other thing is like, just ask yourself what's causing you stress right now, right? Like, is there something like money? Because there's a few common things that cause stress in most people's life, like your relationship, money, your job, uh, and then I think those are, or maybe school or your business. So those are a few things that stresses you out. So just think if there's any area in your life that's causing you stress. And maybe for kids, maybe bully in the school. And then, but the thing is with bullying or kids say mean things is like, you can really do much about, like, you can stop the other kids being mean to you, but what you can do is change your thinking. Like, you know what? Just think that people who say mean things, actually not just bullying in school. Like we often talk about bullying with kids in school, but bullying happens in adult world too. But it's just different. And I think adult we don't say as bullying. We just say that, oh, my coworker is really mean. My boss is really rude to me. Things like that. And I do have a story like that. One of the dietitian, for some reason, she just hated me, but I figured what it is. So this is what bullying is. And we're supposed to talk about sleep, but we're talking about bullying, but it's okay. It causes stress. So, because I know, like, when you felt like you're being singled out at school or at work, not being treated fairly, it gets you really upset, because that's what causing me very upset the last couple of months or last year. But I figured that out, and I'll talk about that probably in my other Instagram account one of this day. But what you need to understand is when people say mean things to you, do mean things to you, or just bullying you for no reason, really is not for no reason. And the reason has nothing to do with you. You didn't do anything, you didn't say anything. And it all has to do with the other person. When someone say mean things, do mean things, exclude you, do all the that bad things to make you feel bad, it's usually because they don't feel good about themselves. So they have to make you suffer, have to make you look bad to make them look good. It's kind of like how Marisa, my teacher, talks about. So it's like a seesaw, right? So you have one side up and down. So these people who are mean to you or you bully usually have very low self-esteem. Just think about happy people, people who are confident with themselves. They don't go around and make other people's life miserable. Only miserable people make other people miserable. Or we call it hurt people hurt people. So they're hurt inside, they have to hurt other people. So the way it is this is your bully or your mean boss or your mean coworker, and they're bullying you. And the reason why is because this is how they look at you. You're you're better than me, so I'm gonna make your life miserable so I can be better than you. So if they say mean things to you, make you feel bad, they make you they make you in their mind, they make you less worthy of them. Then in that case, they're better than you. So another way to think about it is that's what I figured is that if you have a hater in your life who hates you and just make your life miserable, congratulate yourself because you're good enough that you actually have someone who thinks you're so better than them. Because you know how we often think that we're not good enough, everyone's better than me, but this person who hates you actually thinks very highly of you. So that's why they're being rude and mean to you. And then to deal with that is changing that understanding, right? Now you know they're mean to you not because you're a bad person, it's because they think that they're a bad person. Now with that understanding, you should be able to undo that bad feeling with a bully and just stand up to them and say, are you trying to make me feel bad? Like, I understand that you don't like yourself and that's why you're doing things to other people. You just tell them the straight truth and then just don't let it in. With bully, what they want is for you to get upset and for you to react. That's what they want. But if you don't give them what they want, they'll stop. It's like you giving them the wall. They can keep saying mean things to you and the wall's not going anywhere and then they'll stop. Just just don't get into the fight. It's like how I explain to my daughter all the time, you don't fight or argue with crazy. Like you can never win. Like in Hawaii, we have a lot of homeless crazy people and they're walking around talking to themselves. I was like, if this crazy person come up to you and tell you that you're stupid, are you gonna start arguing with them and try to win that argument? You're probably not because you're like, that person is crazy. First of all, I'm not going to ever win that conversation. Second of all, it wastes my time to argue with him. And third of all, if I argue with that crazy person, it just makes me as crazy, right? So, not worth it. So, it's the same with bully. Don't engage with them and just tell them, you know what, say whatever you want. I don't care. You just don't feel good about yourself and you have to make me feel bad just to make yourself feel good. That's how you deal with the world. That's your problem, not mine. And then just walk away. So anyway, so that's kind of a little bit off topic, but I just want to talk about stress because, like I said, that's something that I kind of experience with my own work experience. Having someone who's really mean and do very mean things to me, despite the fact that I have a lot more experience as a dietitian as this person, but I think she feels threatened by me. So, but anyway, she's not there anymore, and I don't care. Anyway, so um, before I go, I want to announce something. So some of you might have noticed there's a few announcement. So there's this event, an amazing events. Like if you want to learn more about ADHD and listen from all different experts and people with specialty and everything from different angles and everything, you should um, you should join this ADHD What Now Summit. And it's happening actually in a few days. It's a 10 days summit. So it's 10 days long with over, I can't remember, 10 to 20 different ADHD experts. So we all kind of have our own areas that we talk to, and I'm one of them. So it's totally free. It starts from February 15th to February 25th. So if you're free on those days, you can sign up, and I'll post that. Can't remember the sign up link, but I'll put a sign up link in the comment as well. So that way you all have the access to it and enjoy some free and amazing information to help you and your kids live with ADHD or live better with ADHD because you have better understanding. And remember, ADHD can be a superpower. Lot of, a lot of world leaders, um, big world changers, entrepreneurs, athletes, they all have ADHD, but they didn't let the diagnosis of ADHD slow them down and prevent them from becoming the best of who they could be. They use it, they embrace it, and use it as a superpower to get them to where they are. So I want you to remember that ADHD is not a death sentence. It is something that can be used in a very good way. It's just like anything else, like water and electricity. You can kill someone with water or drown someone. You can kill someone by drowning them in water, or you can cure someone by giving someone super thirsty and dehydrated water. So water and electricity are the same thing. You can kill someone or do wonderful things. ADHD is the same. If you look at ADHD as a defect of you and it's something that is bad, it's going to do bad things for you. But if you look at it as something that, you know, like someone with a disability, but they still continue to survive and thrive, look at ADHD as just a um what's the word I was trying to say? Is a oh, it's just an inconvenient that you can kind of circumvent around and still achieve great things. Like even though sometimes I don't complete a task in one sitting, but I always come back after a few days to complete it. So it's something that you just kind of learn to live with. But I know it's easier said than done, and some of you probably hating that for saying that. But I just want you to understand that don't feel like it's the end of the world, okay? And keep coming back. We'll keep talking about different ways and how you can live with ADHD more productively and more happily. Because I don't want you to just be depressed and not do anything. Okay? All right. All right. It's been quite a morning and we gone through talk about a lot of things. So I'll see you guys next week. Okay? Bye. See y'all later.